to the Maeband podcast, everyone.
We're back. We made it one whole week. Hey, with 6 kids, that's a long time. So what are we talking about today, Holly?
Today is failing to success.
That sounds like a bumper sticker. She made that up. Oh, TM. Trademark that. Copyright.
Yeah.
That's ours. Don't use it. Okay. So what do you mean failing to success? What does it mean?
Well, it means that we really need to fail before we succeed.
Okay, and I'm not putting Holly down when I say this, but she was terrified of failure before Maeband, right? She was terrified of failure. And so she's probably, and I'm not just saying this because she's sitting next to me, she's probably one of the smartest women smartest people I've ever known. But she was, that's person I. So she is one of the smartest people I've ever known, and she was always scared to do anything because she's never really failed because she
didn't do anything.
Yeah, she didn't
try anything.
But I mean, you did, like with school and everything.
Well, no, with school I did nothing in school. I didn't do any sports. I didn't do any activities.
Yeah, like school, like you did really well, like at school.
Well, yeah, because I had to.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, she's smart. Anyway, so she would always be terrified to try new things. And so Maeband was the first thing that she felt like she had to do. And I remember when that happened and she came and told me all about it, and she came down and sat next to me and just cried her eyes out because she was so scared to do this.
Literally cried on his shoulder, and he just like hugged me and was like, it's okay. You're fine. He's like, you're just scared because you don't fail at anything. He's like, I fail at everything. So.
I do. I fail at everything. And so it's like, I'm like so used to failing. I'll do it. I don't care. I'll fail. I fail at everything. Well, not everything. There's been a few things that I've succeeded in, but I'm not afraid to fail. I think it's just who we were born as, right? It's just that people are just born certain ways. I'm born to not give a crap if I'm going to fail or not. She was born to where
a perfectionist.
She is a perfectionist. Mm-hmm. And so.
Which is good, but also bad because it stops you from doing a lot of things if you don't think that you're going to succeed and be perfect at it.
Yep.
So it was hard because this idea to start this business came directly from God. So I couldn't really say no. I couldn't just not do it. I felt like I needed to be obedient and do this business because God told me you need to do this business. Yep. And so I did, and I cried and I failed a lot.
But I listened to not a podcast, but a thing on YouTube, and it was a really good quote that I heard him say. It's like, if you get knocked down, make sure you land on your back. So, well, now I forgot it. It was something good. I'll find it and I'll write it down below me. But it was like, if you get knocked down, fall on your back so you can get back. I don't know. It sounded better when he said it. I'm gonna show you guys. It was awesome. But yeah, I think that's the most important thing is. I think it is super important to fail in life because there are people that just go through life succeeding after, success after success after success. And when they have something hit them and get knocked down, they're like, oh, I'm out. I've never had that happen before. That sucks. That feeling, I don't like that feeling. And so, and I think there's nobody out there. You could look at any entrepreneur, any CEO, anybody out there. There's nobody that's never had a failure. And so I think the ones that you know are the ones that just got back up and hey, I'm not quitting, which is kind of ironic because we have this conversation all the time because I'm like, stupid YouTube, I'm done. I'm never doing this again. And Holly's like, oh, stop being a little baby, and she calms me back down. But I plan on quitting once a week because I get mad. But it's like I talked about last time, that's just who I am. I make decisions on my mood at the exact second.
I think what it is, I was thinking about this the other day. I think you talk and you say everything that's going on in your mind, and most people don't do that.
That's true.
Most people keep it inside.
That's true. I don't have an inside voice.
You don't have a filter.
Which is really bad for marital arguments as well.
Yes, it is.
Don't do that. I would recommend not doing that.
Yeah.
Because then Holly used to think we would get into argument, and then she'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that." I'm like, "I didn't say that." She's like, "No, you said this." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that." And so now she's just like, "Oh, you're just being an idiot," and I just spew garbage that comes out of my mouth, and now she's just like, "Yeah."
But one way I have to say that I'm able to like kind of give you grace is like, okay, like he just has to say everything that comes to his mind, and what if I did that? Like, what if I literally said everything that was in my mind? That could be bad.
Why? You have bad thoughts about me?
No, never.
Oh my gosh.
Never, not at all. No, but like, I was actually kind of grateful that
you can.
I have that gift of like controlling my mouth.
But that's a good thing is now you know the absolute worst I think about you, and it's not that bad.
And you will never know the absolute worst I think.
That's probably for the best. Anyway, back into the Maeband stuff. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit. I don't know if we want to like go down the list of all the failures, but let's start with like, what was your first failure?
The first failure was the very first manufacturer.
Okay.
Like it took me like a year to even find a manufacturer, and then a whole nother year to like get everything down and get the samples right and get them. And we finally got the order, and half of them were defective.
Yeah, they were garbage.
And I was like, I just paid for this whole order, and now half are defective.
And
like,
a lot of money
what?
too. It was a lot of money. Like we didn't have money back then. It was like we were struggling because I had just lost most of my business, and so this was like a huge kick in the teeth for us, right?
Yeah, it sucked, but but
put it eloquently.
Yes, but what I did was with half of them that were good, I put them up on Etsy, and like I made up my own little website, like I did it myself, put them up there, and while I searched for another manufacturer, I sold out of these like
fast.
Yeah, pretty quickly. And I got like really great reviews back from the women who bought them, like saying this is awesome, like I love them, I want to buy more. And then I was out.
So she at least knew she had a hit.
So
right?
yeah, so I knew that they liked them, but I was out. I only had defective ones left.
Yeah.
And so I actually did that. Like I sold the defective ones, and I didn't even get any bad reviews back from them.
Yeah. Well, because
they still liked
this
them.
is coming from a perfectionist. So the defective ones would be like a little stitch was out of place, and she's like, "Oh, this is garbage. Get them out of my face." And so they were still. I mean, yeah, they're not up to Holly's standards, but they were. She wouldn't sell something that wouldn't work.
Yeah, there were
is
some
what
that
I'm
I
trying to say.
couldn't. There were a lot that I couldn't sell, but there were like some with like little, minor stitches and stuff.
Velcro on the backside. And...
So I sold out of those, and then as I think it was another 4 or 5 years that I searched trying to find another manufacturer.
And then. Sorry. And then another failure in trying to find a manufacturer. Mm-hmm. What happened with that? Yeah,
then the second manufacturer, I finally found one. They finally got me good samples because no one could give me good samples. It's actually a really hard product to make. Everyone thinks it's like a simple product, but it's not. And so I finally got a good sample. I was so excited. I gave him half down for the order and then waited.
Again, a lot of money for us at the time.
Waited and waited and waited. And then like he just kept saying, "Oh, it'll be soon, it'll be soon." And then all of a sudden I stopped hearing from him. And like he was gone. And then I found out like on the internet he like just swindled a whole bunch of people out of money. And I had done my research on this guy before, and he was like legit. He'd actually been helping people like manufacture things. And I guess he just ran out of money at the time that me and some others found him, and
he was like
took our money.
Essentially like running somewhat of a Ponzi scheme, like getting investments from other people to try and pay back other people, and then he's like, "Oh, screw that! I'm just keeping what I can."
His own personal Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, so we lost a lot of money there.
So then I was like back to square one. Like, what do I do now? I have no manufacturer. I'm out more money. Now what? And then this guy was kind of like an in-between guy, and so I met with one of his workers, or I called one of his workers, told him what happened, that he had swindled me out of money, and he was like, "Oh." Which was a miracle that she found him. Yeah, like, he was like, "I had no idea he was doing that. I'm so sorry." And I was like, "Look, can you just tell me like who was it that made this good sample?" Yeah. And so he did. He got me in contact with that actual manufacturer, and I emailed him, and he was like, "I'm so sorry that happened to you. He did the same thing to me. Like, we're out a lot of money." Just a piece of garbage. Yeah. So which is our current manufacturer. Yeah, current manufacturer. We're still working. The stars aligned. Yeah. Yeah. And he's been awesome. Thanks, Gavin. Yep. You're the man. So then I found a manufacturer. I got a big order. And I was like, oh, great. Like, I remember all these boxes that came in the hallway. And it was like way more than my first order even. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, now what? Like, this isn't just for Etsy.
This is real. This is real now.
Like, okay, now I got to get them up on Amazon because I knew like that was where I needed to go. So I put them up on Amazon and they didn't sell. Yeah. they weren't doing anything. And so I was like, well, great. And I actually wasn't really big on Instagram. Instagram was kind of new. And so I didn't know much about it, but I had some sisters that did.
Some sisters.
And they were like, look, there's these women that are pregnant on Instagram. They got a lot of followers. Like, you should reach out to them. And
yeah, we weren't very social media savvy.
Yeah, like
we still aren't, but.
And I'm like, okay. And so I started like reaching out to them. I started messaging them. I started like emailing them and didn't get response back. Like, no one.
Ignored or told no.
Ignored, yeah. Ignored and told no. And like nothing is, and I'm just like, why am I doing this? You know, kept doing it. And then finally, one girl wrote back and was like, oh yeah, sure, I'd love to try it. And I didn't even like realize who this was.
Yeah.
But I was like, awesome. Like, you know, I'll send you a Maeband. So I sent her some samples. And lucky for me, like it turned out she was actually an iHeartRadio DJ, yeah, in Arizona. So she like talked all of a sudden, like one day they just started like they sold out on Amazon, and I was like, what's going on? Like, Bryan, they're just selling out. Like, I don't know what's happening. And he's like, could it be
Sugar Mama?
Like that? What? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't listen to iHeartRadio. And so he found it. Yeah, Bryan went and found it, and
it was an awesome review that she gave.
She talked about it and said how great it was, and so. That caused everyone that heard it, to go into Amazon, type in Maeband, buy my product, bumped it up in the algorithm, and we've been like consistently one of like the top 10 bestsellers in maternity bands ever since.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was. So the failure in that was obviously not selling for a long time, and then it just took.
And being told no.
A lot, but and I think that's relevant to so many people's success story. It's just that one time. You know, that you just keep pushing, and then there's that one breakthrough. Everybody always thinks it's like an overnight thing, you know, because they see it. Like, oh man, you just put it up and it starts selling. It's like an overnight success. But yeah, it was a lot of no blood, but blood, sweat, and tears into these things. It was a lot of heartbreak.
So, a lot of heartbreak.
So we're gonna move to something I know that like devastated her, but ended up being. Like the biggest blessing of all is somebody copied the Maeband.
Yeah.
Like identical, right?
Yeah.
So like the website. So Holly on Maeband on Amazon, for every Maeband she sells, she donates $1 to a charity. It's a different charity every year. So this guy like literally copied that. He copied the whole.
Give back. He copied the packaging. He copied like the way I did the logo. He had his own logo, but like how it was stitched into it, like. Everything was exact.
And his was a far inferior product, I would say. Because we bought it, we're like, man, what if he's making better ones? And we opened it, and then it was just like, you know, and that was another fear, is because we put it, like, we would open it and then, like, stretch it, and it would just pop, and we're like, oh my gosh, hopefully people aren't going to start associating these with Maebands, you know, because they look identical. But anyway, so talk a little bit about that and how you felt. Because I know that was probably, to me, I feel like, that was probably more of a blow than you losing the money from the initial loss of money from the, you know, for the samples.
I feel like it was all pretty equal, but maybe you were a little more involved by then, so maybe like.
Yeah, maybe I felt it because it was like my wife, and some guys like trying to screw my wife. Well. Not that way, but you know what I mean. So somebody was like hurting my wife, right? I guess the first guy did too. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, so anyway, go.
So he copied it. I happened to see it on Amazon, and I was just devastated. And I just thought, man, he's like, because he like sold it for way cheaper too.
Yeah.
And so then I tried to like lower my price, and then he lowered his price, and I was like, I can't do this. And so I just put it back to what it was, and a lot of people told me like, oh, don't worry, but I don't know. He just like, I looked this guy up, and he just like talked about all these different businesses he had, and he had all this experience, and I just like pictured this guy with a ton of money and a ton of businesses that could just come and just wipe me out.
Yeah. She was intimidated by him.
Very intimidated. Yeah. But then I was also trying to get a patent, and I had been like for years trying to get this patent on the product. And like right after I found this out, I found out that the patent was like denied, like totally. And we had appealed it over and over.
Which was also, I'm not trying to blame other people, but it was like she had a patent attorney from the get-go, and he's like, oh no, you don't need to do this now, and this, and then all of a sudden come to find out, he's like, oh yeah, you should have done that. But basically the exact opposite of what he said. So that was another setback.
That was the first patent attorney. I've since switched to another patent attorney.
Now an awesome patent attorney.
And so it was like thousands of dollars, years spent like appealing, like trying to get this patent. And then it was like, came back and it was like, there's nothing like we can do.
There's 0% chance of you getting a patent.
We have gone like every single way, like we're not going to get this patent. And so then I was like devastated. So now I got a copycat on Amazon, and then I'm seeing other copycats on Amazon, and then I don't even have a patent.
Yeah, and they're selling them cheaper.
Yeah. So then how I made this a success is I redesigned my Maeband. Okay. Like redesigned it completely, made it stretchier, made it thinner, made it softer, but it looks the exact same. Yep. It looks the exact same. It works the exact same, but it's just like better. It's like more adjustable. Yeah, like more adjustable. So like I changed a few things, even though it looks the same. Besides the back, it looks the same on the front.
Which was awesome. Like to me, in my brain, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that's like a lot of people, including myself, I would probably think the same thing. I was like, oh, forget this. I'm done. This is stupid. I put on all this work. Now people are reaping the rewards of my, hard work. And, but then Holly, I don't know how, but, something switched in her brain. She's like, okay, how am I going to use this to basically make this better? You know what I mean? Like
turn lemons into lemonade.
Turn lemons into lemonade.
And I did. And then I applied for a patent on the new design, and I got it.
Yep. So now she has a design patent.
So now I have a patent, and it's better than the other, like way better. It's different and better.
The original one. Yeah. That was like the biggest complaint. It was a little bit too thick. That's what people would say.
A little bit too thick and not stretchy enough.
Yeah. And so now it's both those.
So, and softer and more adjustable. Yep. And just super awesome.
Stronger Velcro, isn't it? So, yeah. So.
Yeah. And I would say one of the biggest things like that I've struggled with as I've had this business is like a confidence issue. Like I really struggle with my confidence. Like I'm constantly thinking like so many people do this and they can do it better than me. Like what do I have? Yeah. Like why should I even do that? Even like now, like we're doing this podcast and I'm like, oh my gosh, like there are so many people out there to do a podcast. Why am I even trying? Like what do I have to offer? Yeah. Like why would I do this?
Which is I think is a common problem with a lot of people. They don't have the confidence, which, to do it. They don't have the confidence to do what they want to do. And they're like, oh, well, like Holly just said, there's so many people out there that are doing it better than me. But I think it's funny, like I know what she's about to say. Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off. Well, I know I think what I was thinking was going through her head is, she went on to Shark Tank. And was that when you met?
Oh, that's another failure.
Yeah, that was another failure.
I went on to Shark Tank, succeeded like past the first round, and then failed and never got on the show.
But so what I was gonna say, what I thought she was gonna say is nobody knows what the crap they're doing. Like literally, there's so many people out there that own businesses, own these huge corporations, and you assume they know what they're doing. The more we've talked to people that own businesses, that own, CEOs, entrepreneurs, they're like, I don't know. I just adapt. That's literally what it is. It's when a problem arises, everybody's like, oh, they know what to do. They knew how to fix this problem. They just like, okay, how can I adapt? That's literally what Holly did.
Yeah, I always see people as like smarter or like they're more of an expert than me or, like they have all this experience or even like I've hired marketing companies like multiple times with Maeband and like they don't necessarily do better than what I was doing on my own or what I was doing with, one person and they end up costing me a lot more money. So those are some failed experiences as well.
So yeah, the lesson is just have confidence because like nobody knows what they're doing.
Well, actually, I would say the lesson is I just went to a retreat. That was like a faith retreat a few weeks ago. So one thing I learned there at this retreat was that the chances that you have the top 10 traits as anyone else ever are 1 in 476 trillion. Like, that's huge. Like, so to think that, there's so many other people that could do it better than me.
Yeah.
No, there isn't. Because the chances that anyone else has your top 10 traits are 1 in 476 trillion. Which is I think that's amazing to think about. And it means go out there and do it, because there are definitely not people out there that can do it better than you. You are the only one that can do this.
Yeah. Yeah. And along with that, I would say if you're asking, should I make this product? Should I do this? Should I because we have the YouTube channel, people always ask, well, should I make a YouTube channel? There's a million people out there with YouTube channels. Yes, just do it. Like literally that's what we did. We just did it. The saying is the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is now. So if you have a product that you want to get out, honestly, if you need help, we can help you out with that. If you want to make it, whatever it is that you want to do, just do it. Like we've talked to so many people that say, oh, I wish I had done this. I've always wanted to do that. And I just don't have the time. I don't have this. There's so many people that are in their position that they have now because they just did it. Like they didn't have it all figured out. They didn't have all the money. They just did it, so.
So that's what I would say is go ahead and start feeling your way to success.
Yeah. Yep.
So thanks for listening to Maeband and watching on YouTube.
Like and subscribe.